Welcome to Sequential Geek. Thank you very much for checking out the second half of my Motor City Comic Con comic book haul. This video has loads of significance for me. It was huge because I got to meet Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez. You see, there are a couple of videos I posted my first year of making videos on YouTube. This guy, you know, one of the videos is an interview that was with Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez. The other video shows the first issue, the first appearance of La Borinqueña, a variant cover, as well as the first version of their action figure doll of La Borinqueña. So don't worry, I showed off the doll and I got that safely tucked away. The packaging was autographed and it was pretty cool to show that off, to have. So I really like the character design in general of La Borinqueña, but my whole fascination with this character is really based out of the interview that Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez had with Kamau Bell on United Shades of America. And that video got taken down in 2020 when a lot of the multimedia companies were having more presence on social media. So CNN, they own that television show, and I got a copyright block ever since like 2020. But before that, that video got loads of views, and you know, that was my outlook on why I returned to collecting and speculating on comics, and just being able to post that on YouTube was fun, just for getting into having a YouTube channel. And it defined my outlook, just because it shows this guy opening up his heart about how he loves comic books, he loves where he's from, and he's combining the two to, as he said, instead of being a creator and being told to take an existing property and change that property's sexuality or race, he says he wanted to build something and have it be successful off of its own merit. Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez, being from Puerto Rico, decided then to create this superhero that, she's from the United States, one of the boroughs in New York City, but she studies abroad in Puerto Rico, where her heritage is from, and she explores this cave. This is while she's studying in college. Finds these crystals, and these crystals give her these powers that are based off of these Puerto Rican deities. I think one has to do with the oceans and the mountains, and the other one with the winds. So we have this elemental superhero, La Borinqueña. And the moment that I saw Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez, I thought, oh, no way, because that video got taken down, so it got blocked. So here I am, just happenstance, coming upon the founder of this company, this intellectual property, the creator, the writer, Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez. And y'all are in for a treat, because he not only opens up about that interview with Kamau Bell that got taken off my channel, but he also talks about how that interview took place. In addition, while he was in Puerto Rico, he talks about how he got the cover for the last professional artwork of George Perez. And look at how cool Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez is. He autographed every single comic, and without a fuss, he added the MCCC, Motor City Comic Con 2024. Even his handwriting is like street art. Y'all are in for a treat, I swear to God. I will let Mr. Miranda-Rodriguez do most of the talking, but I just wanted to state, like, when I first went to his booth, he started informing me about how he is expanding the roster, the platform upon which is going to be these action figures. There are two different types of toys that are coming out this summer. There's going to be a Mego-like action figure of La Borinqueña, kind of like a retro Mego 70s mixed media figure, action figure doll that has like real hair and then the clothing. And then there's going to be another action figure type doll that is going to be more like the Legends Toy Biz type of action figure.
This summer with Boss Fight Studio.
Do you mind that I'm recording? Is that totally okay?
This is what they're gonna look like.
Oh yeah. So that's a lot more articulate.
Oh yeah, this is like, you know, Marvel Legends, kind of like Hot Toys, kind of articulation.
Nice.
And these actually it's kind of like more like Diamond Select. They're a little taller than Marvel Legends.
Yo, that is fucking
So these are
cool.
and these are coming out this July.
This July.
Yeah. I already got the samples. They sent me the actual like samples off the production line, and the packaging and the dolls are amazing. They really are. Really excited about it.
Bossfightshop.com.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, they're a great boutique shop. They just celebrated their 10th anniversary, and they're actually doing a lot of like classic licensees with
Beautiful
like
cover.
United Features and King Features. Like they have Popeye, Flash Gordon, the Phantom.
That will be a platform for letting everybody know about the expanding intellectual property of Borinqueña. Each new character is going to have its own action figure as well as its own comic book. So here we have this beautiful cover, the first issue of Luz la Luminosa. Luz la Luminosa. Luz la Luminosa's first issue. The cover here is done by Luciano Vecchio. How dope that is. Look at that street art type style. Fucking dig it. And Luz la Luminosa, she happens to be of Chinese and Dominican descent. Her first appearance of just as like a mortal, like non-powered up, is as a supporting character in the first issue of Borinqueña. And then by issue number 3, right here, this is the latest issue of Borinqueña. By issue number 3, please excuse my Midwest accent, 3. By issue number 3, Luz la Luminosa is born. That's where she takes the name La Luminosa. So she's imbued with these bioluminescent type powers that she can use to create things like force fields.
And actually, this art illustrated by Luciano Vecchio, who's actually a prolific comic art cover artist for like Marvel and DC right now. He just did the new issue of Avengers.
Yes.
His art for this variant cover for our newest issue for Luz la Luminosa is actually the packaging art for our action figures coming out this summer.
Is that related to that at all or no?
Yeah, well, this is actually the action doll. So this is not an additional doll.
Oh, I
But
see.
this
That
is
is
created for
different.
girls
Yeah, my bad.
or collectors.
For sure.
But it's a fully articulate action doll, kind of like if you're old school like me. It reminds me of the Mego action figures. They were like very articulate, but they come with a cloth costume.
Oh, right. Yeah. That. Oh, okay. I see that point.
And
now.
then with actual hair. Yeah. But it's a fully articulate action figure with multiple joints. Yeah, and it has the hibiscus flower, the polemaga, which is a hair clip.
Very dope.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna grab at least.
Oh, those are his stickers.
Yo, actually, which issue is this?
So this is a team up with Rosario Dawson.
Yes,
Actually in the book as herself.
Huh?
She's in the book as herself.
You know how Daredevil's blind, Echo is deaf? Well, this particular superhero has endometriosis. Think of it like endo, the endoderm, the outer layer. So the outer layer of the uterus in 1 in 10 women can become so inflamed, lesions can appear. So this is a story about this woman who has endometriosis, how she has to have the wherewithal to develop her patience and hope and tenacity to not only deal with this endometriosis, but to put herself out there to help people, to become a superhero, right? Superhero with a message. Luz la Luminosa. So issue number 1 is right here, and in between issue number 1 and her first appearance in issue number 3, you have this 2 one-shots of Borinqueña. Borinqueña featuring this A-list star, Rosario Dawson, who happens to be from Puerto Rico. Rosario Dawson is in this comic book right there, as you can see. But then this comic book also has supplemental stories, an individual story for each of these new characters that are being used to expand this Borinqueña universe. Pretty cool. I'm psyched. I'm digging the artwork. Very colorful, vibrant, positive type message looking at these characters. I love the style and the combination of the colors. Definitely digging it.
Like the Scooby-Doo stories where they would have your celebrities and such.
Yeah, man. No, I gotcha. Shit.
And that's our team of superheroes. They have short stories in this book. So the book has a longer story with Rosario and then shorter stories with each individual character.
I think I'm gonna grab this one.
Mark Teixeira, he's Puerto Rican like me. And this is our team up with DC Comics. Here,
Is
this
it
one's
possible
great.
for you to do any type of sketch inside or no?
I'm not the actual cover artist, so I am an illustrator, but I can do like a quick little sketch on the inside with a Sharpie.
Did you originally illustrate her?
I design all the characters,
Right.
And I art direct and create it. I even do like thumbnails for all the covers. But I'll do a quick little markup on the inside. There's a little bit of negative space on the top.
Okay. Were you not the original artist though?
I am.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay, yeah. Pardon me. I was
the writer, creator, and publisher.
Yeah.
So when I came up with the idea, all of the characters that all of the comic artists who work for us, they're working off my character design. So it's kind of like I learned from what Stan Lee didn't do. Stan Lee co-created conceptually, but not visually, the character. So I was like, well, I'm an illustrator, so I'm going to draw what I want all my characters to look like.
I like that new look. I mean, I don't know if that's I don't know that character right there in the.
Yes,
she looks awesome.
She appears in the first issue, and she becomes a superhero in the third issue of our book. So she kind of powers up. It's part of because what we've been doing. That's great. Is that Mike Zeck?
That's Tom Drummond.
Oh. So we've been doing the series for 8 years, and all 7 of our books are part of a larger continuous storyline. So all of the stories are constantly referencing the back issues, so the characters have been evolving, and what I've been doing is like I've been, instead of like expanding the roster of characters, I've been working with the characters that already exist and powering them up to make them into actual more superheroes for a series.
So they could maybe have their own ongoing, you think, eventually?
Yeah, so Luz actually appears in the very first issue. Her real name is Lauren Lala Lu. And this is actually the first issue. And this is literally the first appearance of the character right here. And she's on the phone talking to her friend Marisol, right? But then eventually the character by issue number 3 will actually receive her powers as part of the story. And this is when she actually manifests into the superhero, Luz La Luminosa.
Hell yeah.
And then there's a sneak peek. It kind of jumps into the future and sneak peek of the team that they put together. So with the oncoming stories that we published since, we kind of do a little back and forth to show you how these characters came about, how they got their powers, and how they came together to form a team.
And which one is this? Because I like this cover a lot.
So this was our newest book.
This one looks
and
cool.
It's 4 different variant covers, right?
Oh,
so this is the original cover, and these are the 3 different variant covers for the same issue. And this is Luz. That's actually the new character.
Yeah, this is I like this cover though, man. It's kind of fucking dope though. You know, man. Kind of getting me hooked, man. Let me see. All right, so this is her first appearance in number 3.
As Lucy.
Yeah, I have the first 2. So this is 3. I'm gonna do 3. And can I get a copy of that, please?
There you go.
Thank you. Very psyched. Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez, he not only provided me all this information about where he comes from, his business, but he also indicated how he uses like a Marvel method. He not only will provide an outline of a story, but he gets into the scripting of the story. He does plot and scripting, as well as he provides illustrations. So unlike Stan Lee that would just maybe phone something into a creator or write something on a napkin and hand it to somebody and tell them to do the story, Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez, he owns this IP. This is his business. So he is also getting into sending illustrations that depict the look, the style, the attitude of these characters. So he's very involved in the stories, in the universe that he's building, expanding this IP. Before the Rosario Dawson comic book one-shot, you have this Reconstruction comic book right here. Just pretty dope that he was gracious enough to give me this illustration for free. So Borinqueña got to team up with DC Comics, the proceeds of which this one-shot will go towards benefiting the rebuilding, the reconstruction of Puerto Rico, the reconstruction. Borinqueña standing on her own next to Wonder Woman and Superman. How cool is that? So fucking rad. Thank you so much, Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez, for doing this remark. Once again, check out that dope signature street art like style, I think. But he threw this in for free. This illustration of Borinqueña. Fucking dope is that. Thank you so much, man. Much love. Good looking out. Word. Much props to Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez. Thank you so much for this Borinqueña property. Muchas gracias. Good looking out. Thank you so much, Miranda-Rodriguez. Much love and all the best in your future endeavors. These two.
That would be remark is free. I'm not charging you for the remark.
Muchas gracias.
Oh, which one is the remark?
That's what it's called when you do a little sketch
Very
on the
gracious.
inside.
Oh wait, so you already have it.
No, I drew this. I just drew this right now for him.
No, I was like talking about like the books, like.
Oh yeah. I've already set aside the book. So you're getting issue number 3 also?
Yeah, this
Issue
cover
number 3,
is
just
awesome.
so you're aware,
And
we have
3,
3 different covers for issue number 3. We have this cover, or this cover. So either one is the same price.
Oh, right.
So the same cover art. I mean, same interior, just different cover art.
I mean, really, I like this one. This is the one that caught my eye. And
Great, gotcha.
yeah.
So I'll sign these for you as
Who
well.
did that, by the way?
This is Will Rosado.
Okay.
Will Rosado had a run on Detective Comics and G.I. Joe.
All right.
And he actually is doing a new series called 1/6 about January 6th.
Yeah.
And,
Crazy.
this is Tony, who had actually was kind of bouncing between Marvel and DC, but he had an incredible run of Batman and actually Wonder Woman for DC Comics. And this is Alita Martinez, who's presently doing a series for
Lovely
DC
work.
Comics, a Wonder Woman spin-off series.
Yeah, man. Nice work. Let me pause
So
this
we're gonna
video.
do, just so you're aware.
I'm gonna pause.
Yeah.
No, he's
Yeah.
making a video.
So yeah, Camu Bell,
So
he was
W.
interviewing
Kamau
you.
Bell,
Yeah, Kamau Bell.
award-winning comedian, author, television producer, TV host,
Yeah.
had an incredible series on CNN called United Shades of America.
Right, that
And
interview.
United Shades of America is actually available on Max, so you can actually see the entire roster of episodes. And he was filming an episode in Puerto Rico. I happened to be visiting Puerto Rico while he was shooting this special episode.
Oh, so you weren't
Because-
living there?
No, I
I
wasn't
had the
living there.
impression that
I'm
you
from
lived
Brooklyn,
there. But
New
you had a
York.
studio there.
So, well, let me tell you the
Okay,
story.
sorry.
So, I'm in Puerto Rico because I was debuting our first issue. And at the time, that's all we had. It was our first issue. We debuted it at a Comic-Con, the Iguana Comic Fest.
Hell yeah.
That was actually where I met George Perez, who actually, because of that trip, donated an original cover of La Borinqueña for our series. Turns out this is actually the last cover illustrated by George Perez that was published as a comic book before he quit the industry and soon after passed away. So when we actually were in Puerto Rico, we're approached by producers of the show. And I was just happened to be there. It was an incredible coincidence. I had to drive across the island, a 3-hour drive, because I was all the way on the west coast. Made it to the other side. This is 100 by 35 miles. That's how big the island is. Make it to the other side of the island. While I'm driving, I call my friend who has a comic book shop in the town of Rio Piedras. And I asked my friend, I said, Luis, there is Luis Carlos Suarez. I said, can I use your shop for this interview that I'm doing for CNN? He was like, I'll meet you there. So I show up to the shop, and I had just finished the Comic-Con, so I had a car filled with my posters and my comics. We decorated the whole store.
Oh my God.
With all my comics,
Nice
all
work.
my posters.
It looked like it had already been there.
The camera crew shows up after we decorated.
Okay.
Right? And me and Kamal Bell, we just start talking.
Right.
We're just talking, having casual conversation. Right? Wait, but I had a list of questions I was gonna ask, and producer was like, we're good. We got everything we need.
Yo, that clip of you guys, they blocked that from my site because of copyright.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and because it was the commentary that you guys had.
Yeah, and it was an actual
Which is fine,
unscripted, honest
whatever.
conversation. That was just in fact, even the question.
Because it was about comics. It was about modern comics. It wasn't just about comics, but it was about the role of.
So it was really like just an incredibly serendipitous moment about comics.
About
and
creating a
being
new superhero and
Right.
not changing one, right?
Exactly.
Like you have her next to Wonder Woman, but it's not a Puerto Rican version of
Right.
Wonder Woman.
It's like I have a friend of mine. I don't know if you follow hip hop in the '90s, but my friend Kwame, he was known for polka dots, right? And he's a good friend of mine, huge comic book head. And his approach is like, what the big two DC Marvel tend to do is they take a character and just dip them in chocolate.
Yeah, they throw it to the wall, see what sticks, type
Or-
of thing, right? Yeah.
I look at it as honestly, they treat their characters as brands. Because if you think of a brand like Adidas, every generation associates that brand with a different celebrity. My generation associates Adidas with Run DMC.
Okay.
A younger generation may associate it with Pharrell or with Kanye West, right?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
all they're doing is like taking a character, and instead of treating Spider-Man like a character, they're treating him like a brand. It's a very, it's a business.
Yeah, it's because I think as collectors and readers, we buy into the concept of this mythology. Thank you. Word.
And then like Marvel's version of the ad, check this out. They had Spider-Man, Hulk, Thing, Captain America, and Red Sonja.
Yeah, well,
And I was like, looking at that, I was like, I remember
in the
this ad.
70s.
And I was like, looking at back then, I was like, Red Sonja isn't even a Marvel character. She was actually licensed to Marvel.
Interesting. Because they wanted a female.
They needed a female
And She-Hulk
counterpart
wasn't
to
around.
Wonder Woman. But the reality is, even today in 2024, Marvel has never fully developed a woman character.
No, and Storm is like one of my favorites, especially when
Right.
they
And
had so much
now,
going when she had the
Luciano
mohawk.
Vecchio just illustrated and he just posted it on.
Okay, I see what you said.
He just did a new cover of the Avengers with Storm on the cover. And Storm is now the leader of the Avengers.
Why not?
And I'm like, well, yeah, that's great, but that's like 60 years ago would have been even better,
Yeah, and especially after she lost her powers and became the leader of the X-Men.
I mean, she's a great character, and I think like I look at someone like Joe Quesada, right?
Yeah.
I remember Joe in the early '90s, incredibly hot artist, right?
Yes.
And he was doing stuff at DC. He even created the the variant Batman. Remember the variant Batman he did? There was a different dude wearing the Batman costume, and they actually did a redesign and gave him a Batman armor. That was Joe. Azrael, right. That's before he became Azrael. So Joe did that.
No, sure.
So then Marvel was like, we want you. And Joe was like, that's great. And so they're like, we're going to do a more mature imprint called Marvel Knights. Joe was like, that sounds like a great idea.
Did he already have a studio by then?
He had kind of like a studio, kind of of its like.
Oh, he was
friends.
freelancing, and him and Palmiotti were sharing
Palmiotti was like a
space.
thinker, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, you can take any character you want. He was like, I'm taking Daredevil. And they were like, why you want Daredevil? Nobody's buying his books. And he was like, exactly. And what Joe proved, he took a character that nobody cared about anymore. Because remember,
so
after Frank Miller's run
amazing.
in the 80s, Daredevil
Like when
kinda
Steranko
fell out
did Shield.
right?
Yeah.
And so he flipped this.
Yeah.
And so
It was amazing,
what Joe
man.
did is what George did.
Yeah.
George Perez did in the 80s. Because when George left Marvel, George told me this story too, because Joe told me his story, and then George Perez told me a similar story. When George left Marvel to go to DC, they were like, you can draw anybody you want. Who do you want? He was like, I want Wonder Woman. And they were like, why? Why do you want Wonder Woman? I was like, exactly for that reason. That's the answer you're giving me.
See, that's a pro.
That's why I want Wonder
That's a
Woman.
pro, right? I mean, that's a pro.
And he, you know, he
Like,
wrote.
it's not like he said, because I can only draw this certain type of female or
No.
X, Y, and Z.
His take was,
It-
because this is such an incredible character and you have not been respecting her for decades. If you
Marston,
look at George
right?
Perez's run,
Yep.
like there's a great website called Comic Browser, Comic Cover Browser, right?
Okay. Okay.
If you look at George Perez's run, go to the first issue that George started illustrating Wonder Woman, right? And then go backwards. Go before George started drawing Wonder Woman, right? And every image of Wonder Woman before George was drawing her was submissive, was overpowered, was a very negative portrayal of Wonder Woman. She was always the victim. When George started drawing her, she became powerful, empowering, inspiring.
Yes.
And
Yeah, the covers too.
So the idea is that it's not about the character being this iconic. Like, look, invest the time in any character with the right talent, and that character can be the star. I mean, even in MCU did it with like
No
Guardians
doubt.
of the Galaxy movie. Nobody knew all these characters.
Bendis with Alias, maybe, right? I
Talk
mean,
about a character nobody knew anything about.
And the
The character
Gatus.
didn't even have her own title.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
he gave her an incredible backstory.
They made the Sentry up essentially too. That was
Yeah.
a hoax.
Yes.
But
Brilliant.
so this is Perez's last cover, or one
That
of
was
his last.
official cover. Yeah.
Dude, I gotta get that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that was,
because-
and he actually donated the original art to us. So the original art is part of an art show that's on tour, and it's actually in Chicago right now. We have a whole art show of Borinqueña artwork that includes.
Yeah,
art shows and original
that's a
covers.
novelty right there that I can't turn down.
Great. Yeah, let's bring
for me.
up issue number 2 for you.
As a collector and
Yeah.
a fan. So
And you know, this was literally a big thank you for that he gave me.
Which cover would you like?
This one, please, with the George Perez. I'm gonna edit the hell out of this. Hey, man, I appreciate your information,
I
man.
love talking comics.
My God,
I mean, I may be a philanthropist and an activist, but I'm also a nerd. I have long boxes. I've been reading for decades. You know.
Well, just the energy, the articulation with all the feedback that you have, man. Just like all the details that you're able to provide,
also-
that level of enthusiasm. It's a lot of sellers around here in general don't have half as much fucking energy when I just try and ask them about their product,
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna put MCC on the other ones. MCCC on the other ones
Well,
too.
thank you.
Well, you know, it's honestly having a conversation with you is the fuel that keeps it going. Because the
Solid.
reality is that what's the point of making these stories if you don't actually have the opportunity to share it with people that enjoy it as much as me writing it? You know what I mean? And especially like it's coming from a place of love for the medium.
thank you.
And love for the genre. I love sequential art. I mean, I really do. I really love sequential art. But I also love superhero storytelling. It's just something that I've always grown up with. Always something that I've always oh, here's your card, bro. And
Thank you, G.
as an adult, to be able to like do it now, I wish I could just open a portal to show a 6-year-old version of me. Hey, we're gonna make comic books when we're older. It's gonna be okay. I know it's kind of tough right now, but it's gonna be okay. We're gonna make
I appreciate
comics.
you, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Why am I at the park today? Well, why I'm at the park today is a beautiful day. It's Memorial Day Sunday. Got here early because, you know, Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez, she's from Puerto Rico. Luz La Luminosa, she's from Dominica, which is part Dominican and Chinese, right? Well, typically this park is packed, and it probably will be later today. I gotta say, nobody used to use this park. I came back into town on Easter this year after being gone for 3.5 years. And although there was nobody here that Sunday, every Sunday afterwards, since then, some places have Chinatown, some places have Little Italy. I would say this park every Sunday has become what I call like Casa de Latina. Or just everyone from Mexico and Central and South America fill this park up every Sunday. I think because it's Memorial Day, there's not that many people here. Unfortunately, my timing isn't that great for this video, but that's why I held off. And they've recently put up all these flags, and I was gonna show the flag of Puerto Rico or Dominica, but they don't have it. So sorry, Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez. I wish there was a flag from Puerto Rico, and I wish there was a lot more people here. Typically this place is crowded. That's why I waited, held off. Let's get on with the rest of the Motor City Comic Con haul, shall we? Check it out. So think of it like this when it comes to Dark Horse Comics and this property. Sure, in 1979, Heavy Metal had their magazine-size movie adaptation of Aliens. That was the first time Ellen Ripley and the Xenomorphs were in comics, but 1986, when the second Aliens movie came out, Aliens, that was when Dark Horse Comics was founded by Mike Richardson. 2 years later, after the founding of Dark Horse Comics, you had Aliens, and that is their standalone story about what happened to Hicks and Newt like 11 years after the movie Aliens. That was in May of 1988. June of 1989 now, the next year, you have the first appearance of Predator in comics. This is pretty dope. This is written by the same writer as that Dark Horse Aliens series, Mark Verheiden. The artist is Chris Warner. He's an editor over at Dark Horse Comics. He did the interior art and the cover artwork for this Predator limited series. First time Predator was in comics, first printing, June 1989. I paid $85 for this near mint, in my opinion, copy. Chris Warner, while being an editor over at Dark Horse, convinced Mike Richardson that they should combine the properties of Aliens and Predator. Thus, Dark Horse's Aliens versus Predator is born. This is the first appearance of when the two properties meet, thanks to editor Chris Warner, that editor-artist over at Dark Horse Comics, Chris Warner. This is a Dave Dorman painting, but this is part 3 of 3 when the Predator and the Alien Xenomorph properties meet for the first time. $25. Good deal, in my opinion, although there is like a little color-breaking spine crease. Some schmutz like that break right there. It's more like a scuff right there, but still some markings on the cover. This is actually the A cover by Chris Warner. I believe Randy Stradley wrote this story, and Philip Norwood did the artwork. Yeah, so here's that machine that the Predators send to seed planets. So facehugger jumps out, and so it begins. The hunt is on. They also introduced Top Knot in issue 34, which is the first part. And he's the leader of this tribe. And they also show how they mark someone so they can become a full member of the tribe after killing the ultimate predator, that xenomorph. A rite of passage. Next up that I got at the con, it's a really nice copy, Newsstand from 1986, Alpha Flight 33. First appearance of Yuriko Oyama as Lady Deathstrike. Now this is like the second of her three main first appearances. So 1983 in Daredevil 196 was Yuriko Oyama's first appearance. I think 3 issues later in Daredevil, she kills her father, Lord Darkwind. He's the one behind how to bond metal to skeletons, like Bullseye's spine or the adamantium onto Wolverine. Well, about 3 years later, in 1986, that Denny O'Neil character, Yuriko Oyama, is now grabbed by Bill Mantlo, who turns her into Lady Deathstrike, this Japanese warlord. And then the next month, in May of 1986, there's an X-Men story in X-Men 205, where Chris Claremont co-plots with artist Barry Windsor Smith this story about how Yuriko Oyama is then taken as this warlord, Lady Deathstrike, and given all that cybernetic Mojo world goodness, where she gets the finger blades from Spiral out of the Mojo world in Uncanny X-Men 205 to become the Lady Deathstrike that we all know and love today. This is a Mike Mignola cover from this 1986 comic. Alpha Flight 33. 17 bucks. Really nice newsstand copy. Shout out to UH1, Unholy One. I saw this cat doing this graffiti artwork, and there's just some other person that puts these obscenities up, that some other person that just likes to write up obscenities, and this street artist knows them and he's trying to put his tag over them. So hell yeah, shout out to Unholy One. I met that street artist recently. Miracle Man issue 12. I believe it is Miracle Man as of issue 17 when Neil Gaiman takes over with Mark Buckingham, but I think it's the legendary Alan Moore, John Totleben run that starts with issue 11 until Neil Gaiman takes over. Miracle Man. Wow, and follow-up of my Rick Veitch Brat Pack comic books that I showed in the previous video, part of this Motor City Comic Con haul. Talk about deconstruction of the superhero. It was Rick Veitch that did issue 10 illustrating Miracle Man back in the 80s. Yeah, this is around mid-80s when this came out. And this is more about how a superhero becomes more like a super being. And then just to follow up, here we got Miracle Man issue 13. Alan Moore and John Totleben. The seller at the con thought all of these comics were 10 bucks, and the seller was like, what, that's 20? And I was like, fine, I'll pay full price. I didn't want to make a big deal about it. Just found the sellers at the Motor City Comic Con mostly to be pretty standoffish, very impersonal, yet you have creators that are able to have conversations and promote their work. So there's your Miracle Man comics. What better way to end this Motor City Comic Con comic book haul other than, instead of Hulk mad, Hulk horny. That's right. Make love, not war. Loving this incredible Hulk 103 cover. Thank you so much for visiting. Till next time, much love. Remember, keep on reading comics. Keep on collecting. Peace.